Change making to me means looking around us and finding things that don't seem right or fair and doing everything in our hand to make those things change for the better.
Change making is the only constant life force I know.
Change making is about actively doing something to improve the current standard and to make the world of tomorrow a better place.
A change maker is someone who challenges the narrative, someone who wants to help society grow and does whatever is feasible to make that happen. A time that I challenged something that I found was unfair or unequal was when I realised that career advice and advice with regards to academia was mostly constrained to a socio-economic group. In order to challenge this narrative, I co-founded a platform called Accelerate, which helps underrepresented BAME students get into STEM careers and STEM field paths.
I was the recipient of unprofessional treatment by another attendant. I reported it to the appropriate committee immediately, and they in turn asked him to take a professional seminar course in unconscious biases and sexism before allowing him to attend the conference again.
I find it incredibly unfair when the often atypical career progressions of ambitious women who have had to overcome geographical, cultural, social, and educational barriers are judged against career progressions of those who have not had to face nor overcome such obstacles in life.
I think a lot of people agree that many of the hackathons at Imperial have predominantly male participants and winners. So we have, for the first time, created an all-female undergraduate hackathon, and it's specifically tailored towards female identifying and non-binary students who want to try out coding and have basic coding skills, and essentially create a safe space for these undergrads and postgrads to learn a bit more about software development and the field of tech.
I think there are things that we as the college could change to make our institution more accessible to those who are underrepresented in academia. So one thing that I'm working on is an internship program within our department, which looks at ways in which we can bring early career professionals, so those who are recently or about to graduate from university, and how we can bring those early career professionals into Imperial, and particularly those who are from underrepresented backgrounds in academia.
One time on work experience on one of the wards, a respiratory consultant told me I'd be best placed to be a GP or a dermatologist. I asked him why, and he said it was because that's what women are good at, caring about skin. And that when I have babies, I need to stay at home and look after them, so I should be a GP, which has a more flexible schedule. My way of challenging him was to ask him, if that was true, then why were there female consultants working alongside him? To which he had no response. This comment, though, has really stuck with me, even now. And I think it really shows how the way society views career-driven women has not fully changed.
Something that I found especially concerning about society nowadays is the lack of consideration towards the voice and opinions of young people, especially those who are underage and can't vote. There are lots of laws affecting us, and yet we have very little representation. And something I did to challenge this thing that I found was unfair was to get involved in organizations and debating clubs who are in charge of promoting discussions among young people regarding social issues.
I'm actually inspired by kind of a lot of people that I've met in my life. I'm inspired by my family, I'm inspired by my friends, fellow students. I think by appreciating the traits and achievements of other people, it can help you to become a better version of yourself and push yourself to challenge things that you might not have thought in the past that you could challenge.
My inspiration academically and personally is Emmy Noether. She was one of the most significant mathematicians of the past century.
For scientific inspiration, I'm incredibly lucky to work with the most inspirational scientists and colleagues at Imperial. For artistic inspiration, the two figures that come immediately to mind are Lebanese-American poet-philosopher Khalil Gibran and Lebanese singer Fairuz, whose song lyrics are often composed of Gibran's poetry.
One of my role models and someone that inspires me is the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's a great example of someone who time and time again broke the glass ceiling that women often face, and she continuously fought for gender equality throughout her career.
If I had to choose one specific person that was a big source of inspiration for me and has made me think more deeply and consciously about certain things, it would have to be Resmaa Shojani, who is the founder of the tech organization Girls Who Code.
There are many people who inspire me, including the journalist Kate Adie, the campaigner Doreen Lawrence, and the lawyer Ruth Bader Ginsburg, all women who have fought for transparency and fairness.
I would have to say that the people who inspire me the most are my parents. They've sacrificed so much for me to have the life that I have, and I'm extremely privileged to have parents who care about me that much. If I became ruler of the world, the change I would love to make for women is a shift in perspective of sexual assault within our society.
The change I would make is to ensure that education is mandatory for all girls and to make sure that schools are a safe, progressive and inspiring environment for them.
What I would like to see is a kind of untangling of the systems and the legacy of unfair treatment, which has resulted in disparities that we see today.
It would be naive of me to think that one single change could serve and benefit women of different socioeconomic backgrounds, beliefs, lifestyles, as well as geographical diversity. However, I believe that equal representation in society, politics, and everyday affairs, as well as freedom of women regarding their choices and their bodies, can apply to most of the societies around the globe.
I think one thing I would like to address is the gender pay gap.
I'd mandate that the $10.9 trillion of unpaid women's labor for 2020 alone be immediately reimbursed and their efforts properly acknowledged.
But I also think ultimately it's about creating a dialogue where we acknowledge the different factors which can contribute to disparities. So thinking about age, the assigned sex you have at birth, your religion, faith.
One thing that I would implement to help women would be to renounce stereotypes through education. I would create a fairer world for women and men, and I would focus on empowerment, because you can only do something once you believe you can.
I would focus on making education available for all girls, because I think education is what makes you free.